Imagine waking up in a version of America where Congress looked at the Civil Rights Act in 1964, thought about it for a second, scratched its collective head, and said, you know what? Let's not. A world where discrimination stayed legal because apparently some lawmakers were too busy arguing about lunch breaks to realize the future of the entire country was on the table. Buckle up, because this alternate timeline gets messy, uncomfortable, and wildly chaotic in the most American way possible. In this universe, segregation doesn't end. It just rebrands. Hotels still have whites-only signs, but now with a fun modern twist like VIP members only. Terms apply. Restaurants still separate people, but with QR codes explaining why heritage seating traditions must be respected. And public schools? Oh, they turn into battlegrounds of lawsuits, PTA riots, and TikTok videos of people fighting over where their kid gets to sit on the bus. It's chaos, but with Wi-Fi. Let's start with education, because that's where things go off the rails instantly. Without the Civil Rights Act enforcing equal access, schools across America remain separate and deeply unequal. Wealthier, whiter districts keep all the funding, resources, and shiny iPads, while minority districts receive whatever's left, usually stress, dust, and teachers held together by caffeine and trauma. The achievement gap? It doesn't just stay. It becomes a canyon so wide even Google Maps gives up. And because inequality feeds inequality, generations of students find themselves stuck in cycles they didn't choose, all because Congress forgot to be brave. Now let's talk workplaces. Picture a world where HR departments don't exist to protect workers. They exist to politely explain why certain people don't fit the company's brand aesthetics. Job applications could legally include questions like, what race are you? Or do you plan on making our customers uncomfortable? Interview rooms would look like talent show editions where merit matters less than matching the company look. It would be corporate dystopia, but with more coffee machines. As the decades pass, discrimination multiplies like rabbits on energy drinks. Housing is a minefield. Entire neighborhoods stay racially locked because there's no law saying they can't be. Realtors casually hand out maps with color-coded zones, and banks come up with creative terms like heritage lending restrictions, a fancy way of saying no loan for you. Generational wealth builds on one side of the fence while the other side gets trapped in a loop of underfunded neighborhoods and overpriced rent. Congratulations, the American dream becomes the American sorting system. Voting rights? Oh, don't even get me started. Without the Civil Rights Act forcing states to stop playing guess the jelly bean count at polling stations, voter suppression becomes a full-time sport. Entire communities get one voting booth that closes at noon, while wealthier areas get booths that serve free coffee and Wi-Fi. Political campaigns brag about targeted voting experiences, which is code for "you're not voting here today, sir." Democracy becomes a complicated hobby instead of a basic right. Law enforcement? Picture policing without any civil rights protection, a combination so unstable it could power a nuclear reactor. Without federal oversight or civil rights lawsuits keeping departments in check, abuses skyrocket. Black and minority communities live in a constant state of fear, tension, and exhaustion, while videos of injustice flood the internet daily. It becomes so normal that news anchors start reporting it with the same tone they use for weather updates. Good evening. High chances of discrimination this week. Over to sports. And because culture follows policy, America's social fabric becomes a ticking time bomb. Without the Civil Rights Act forcing the country to confront its racism, the divide grows until it snaps. Protests erupt constantly, not just in the 60s, but every single decade afterward. Every generation fights the same battles their parents and grandparents fought, because nothing ever changed. The country becomes stuck in a perpetual time loop of injustice and outrage. Economically, the U.S. suffers too. Diversity fuels innovation. Companies like Google, Apple, Tesla, Amazon all flourished because they hired talented people from every background. But in this alternate timeline, workplaces are echo chambers of sameness, filled with people who look alike, think alike, and make identical mistakes. Creativity tanks. Productivity drops. America falls behind countries that embraced equality while the U.S. sits in the corner insisting everything is fine. Spoiler, it's not fine. Meanwhile, internationally, the U.S. becomes a global embarrassment. Other nations look at America like, seriously? You still have this problem? The country loses moral authority overnight. It can preach democracy or human rights when it can even seat people together in a restaurant. International leaders avoid American conferences because the optics look like a documentary no one wants to be in. By the 2000s, this alternate America is exhausted, divided, economically crippled, and globally isolated. Every issue, crime, poverty, education, healthcare, gets worse because no one ever addressed the root cause, structural inequality. Entire industries collapse. Protests erupt weekly. Politicians act confused, like, wow, I wonder what caused all this, as if the answer isn't screaming at them from every direction. And here's the most ironic part. The Civil Rights Act didn't just transform society. It saved America from destroying itself. Without it, the country slowly tears itself apart from the inside. The future stops progressing. Culture stops evolving. Innovation slows. The economy loses billions. People lose hope. And the American dream becomes something people read about in books like Atlantis. So what's the lesson here? Equal rights aren't optional. They're not nice to have. They're the foundation that allows a country to grow, innovate, and unite. Without the Civil Rights Act, the U.S. doesn't become stronger. It becomes a divided, unstable, economically weak version of itself. The kind of country no one would want to live in, let alone build a future in. Be grateful for the timeline we actually live in, because in this alternate one, America never became the country it was meant to be. And before you go disappearing into another what-if rabbit hole, make sure you hit like so the algorithm doesn't segregate this channel into oblivion. Drop a comment with your next crazy what-if idea, and subscribe so you don't miss the next alternate universe we about to jump into. Because trust me, the next one is just as wild.